Welcome to Cookies and Careers Coffee Talk. We're excited to have you, and I'm so excited for our conversation today. Today we're talking about when you've had a career, a full career in some area, and then at some point you make a complete change. It's really exciting. I know a lot of people think about it, and I can't wait to introduce you to our guests. We've got Matt, Andrea, and Julia, and they're going to tell you a little bit about what they've done, what they did first, and what they're doing now. So we'll start with Matt on that end of the couch.
Yeah. So I had a 30-plus year career at a financial services company where I did a lot of information technology and operational risk work. You know, it was in the vein of, cybersecurity and data protection. So that's kind of where I came from. Not where I am now.
It's always in the back of your mind.
Yes, it helps. It helps
Right?
a lot now.
Yeah.
It helps a lot now because I deal with people who are going through career transitions. But mine was by design, right? Or more or less by design. Theirs is not by design because they've gotten laid off. So the fact that I can relate to them as a business professional, who's done some of this stuff, I think makes a difference.
I think
I'd like to think it does.
I'm sure that it absolutely does. All right, and that's slightly related to Andrea,
Yes.
who's got multiple careers. And I would like to say that she just left her corporate job yesterday.
Yes.
So
So it's appropriate for me to be here today. So thank you, Sherry. So I've been in multiple industries: beauty, food, financial services, in global roles. The most recent one, I was doing compliance for things like privacy or alleged adverse event protocols and workflows, and making sure that we did all the reporting that was necessary from a consumer perspective. But as of today, I am in my new chapter, which is a certified professional and executive coach, as well as an author. And it's something I'd been strategically kind of working on in the background, thinking about my next, and finally I had the opportunity to step into that as of today.
it's really exciting.
Yeah, yes.
And Andrea put some of her books, so we'll show you those later. And now Julia also made a complete change, which is so exciting.
Hi, I'm Julia. I've been in technology and construction field for over 22 years, and I, in parallel to that, about 12 years ago, started to practice yoga and other Eastern modalities of healing, and I found how deeply profound it was for me and how helpful it was for me to manage stress, working in such a stressful environment of construction and IT together. So I decided that I would pursue this professionally, and I, over the last decade, have built a side, business that one day I thought it was going to be my full-time thing. And last year, I decided to do it. I retired as a vice president of technology. I figured it was a good place to put a pause on it, and I jumped right into doing my thing full time.
I'm sorry, but you guys are too young to retire. I've got a white beard. I can be retired.
Retirement is a state of mind, right? Redirection of your energy.
Or pivoting.
That's it. Pivoting.
Yes, that's it.
I think about his friends now. Pivot. Anyway, but I think it's healthy to think about the fact that you can have a career in something, and it could be even 10 years, and then you decide to make a change. So I'm just going to throw this out and see who wants to answer. What made you decide this was the time for you to make your change? What inspired you?
I'm happy to jump in the pool. What I do now is I'm a career transition coach for an outplacement service. And part of it was during COVID, I took a voluntary separation from my financial services company, and I started looking for a job. And I had been coaching and mentoring people for 20 plus years before that. And I always had a passion. So during that shutdown period, I did a lot of virtual stuff, taught myself, went to different forums. And I learned I really liked it. I liked helping people. I just informally started helping people. I wasn't worried about money. It was COVID. We were all just trying to keep busy and sane, right? And I went back to financial services, and it was fine, but I stayed in touch with someone at this outplacement agency that I was actually using. And the trigger was things were starting to kind of change post-COVID. 2 years later, companies starting to lay off. They're rebalancing, recalibrating. And I got that call. It's like, do you want to do this career coaching thing? And I was like, let me think about it. Yes. And it was the right time, because it was a little earlier than I planned financially, but my wife and I said, let's figure it out. And it just felt like the right thing to do. It was something I was thinking about, this is going to be my retirement gig. I just said, this is an opportunity to learn hands-on and just jump in the pool. And I did that. It just felt good. It felt right. And I haven't looked back. I love it.
That's great. And Andrea, I know it's fresh for you, but you've been planning. I mean, you've written books.
Yeah.
You have your certification. So this is something you've been thinking about.
Yeah, kind of thinking about it. And part of, about 7 years ago, I did the Strengths Finder from
I
Gallup.
did the Strength Timer, yeah. Fine.
And the woman who did my personal debrief, she said, I think you'd make a good coach. And that was 7 years ago. And I kind of parked it in my head. I never thought about it again. And then most recently, probably about 4 years ago, I was thinking, okay, what's next? I want to do something next. And I thought maybe it's going up the corporate ladder. But then I didn't get a promotional opportunity. And then I thought, you know what? I probably need to take the reins here and decide what's next for me. And that's when I went back to school, did my master's, got my coaching certifications, and here I am. So I think the inspiration was wanting to decide for myself what I wanted to become and not just waiting to see what would happen in the corporate space.
That's great. I should also mention that Andrea and I met because we both volunteer as mentors at a university. So that's how we met. We sat next to each other at a table.
I know, yeah.
And it's just great that happens. So you never know where things are going to lead. All right, and Julia, what inspired you to, you had been working part-time. You had this, it was your own business, but then you decided to make it your primary.
Yeah. I think there are several components that went into it. I think just, like you had some revelation during COVID. I also had an opportunity to really reevaluate what my side business, brings to people, and how integrative and somatic healing is important for a global community, for everything that we're going through, right? This stress and trauma of everything. And so I started to think more about how do I transition? Finances play a big role, when you're on your own. It's like you don't have a safety net, so you're always like, okay, maybe next year, I'll save a little more money. And I've asked a lot of people in my industry who have transitioned to full-time, and their uniform answer was, you will know. And I'm like, how? You will know. And last year, before I turned 44, I knew. I woke up one morning and I was like, this is time. It's truly time. And there's something inside of me that said, if I don't take this opportunity right now, it may not come around again. I may get stuck in the beautiful career that I had, which I'm grateful for, and I still love it, but I think it would hold me back from pursuing something so magical and transformational that can give back to this world more, in many ways more. So I did it. With encouragement of my, old boss and support from the company that I worked for so many years, and their appreciation, I was able to, make that transition.
That's great.
That's a great story. I love
It's a really
you
great
just felt
story.
that.
I felt it too.
She was convicted.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like now or forget about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I think integrative healing is, I think we all kind of feel like we need it.
Yeah.
I mean, you just open up the paper and you're just like, oh, let me call Julia right now. That's kind of how you feel these days. So what would you say is the scariest part of making these transitions? I'll start with you. We'll go this way this time.
Oh my gosh. Of course, finances right away, right? You're used to a certain level of earning, to certain, benefits that you have, even health benefits, or, so those are like some of those logistical things that, you start thinking about, but you can figure it all out. Like, you just take time, you talk to accountants, to professionals, there's always an answer for that. So I would just say that don't let that scare you. And also just the unknown, right? Like, you're just jumping into something that you might love and it's your passion, but where does it go from here? So sometimes that fear of the unknown might be something that, might hold us back.
It's really true. It's brave to take the plunge.
Yeah.
For sure. And be on your own and start your own business. Yeah. It's a lot.
It is a lot.
It really is a lot. I give you a lot of credit.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Really.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
You guys got guts. I'm working for a company.
So you're Yeah, I mean, I know it's one day.
Right,
And your corporate
yeah.
job's behind you, but you're planning. But also for you, looking forward,
Right.
if you've got clients that you want to
Right.
gain.
Yeah,
right? So
exactly. Yeah.
for you,
So
what do you think is the challenging part for
for
yourself?
me, the challenging part is really about the branding and the marketing and also, you know, you get all these ideas and you can't do them all at once. And you've got to think about the ROI and, you know, whether or not an investment over here is worth it. So fortunately, I have a business coach who, you know, will say, let's finish one project, do it well before we jump to the next big idea. But I was never in marketing. So for me, that's, you know, that was hard. It was hard for me to put myself out there on social media because that's just not my personality type. But I had to learn that I have to put videos out there. People have to get to know who you are. Otherwise, I'm not going to be successful doing this.
Right. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's definitely hard.
Yeah.
For sure, to learn it.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. I'm not quite the risk taker you guys probably are. Okay, but maybe one day I'll get my LLC and I'll do my own thing. But that said, for me, it was the financial thing because I kind of stepped away from a corporate job, which was paying pretty well,
Right, yeah.
to do something which was more of a passion,
Yeah.
you know? And, you know, my wife and I had the conversation. She said, don't worry, we'll be okay. It wasn't me who said that. She had to say that, right? So that was a risk, telling my wife I'm going to do this, you know? She's okay with it now after a year and a half, you know? But the other thing that was kind of interesting is I listened to you guys talk just now. I was like, you know, I've coached people for years, you know, but I wasn't getting paid for it,
Right.
you know? And then I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna get paid for it. People really expect me to know what I'm doing, you know, because, because I always had this other background
Right.
that I had used and honed and worked through. You know, it's like I was the guy or as a leader or whatever it was. Now it's like, I am happy to not be that part, you know, because I don't need that anymore in my career.
Right.
But it was more like, now people are trusting me to know what I'm doing. I've never done this for pay. Like I'm a professional coach now, you know? And I'm like, wow, you know what? I can do this. There was that confidence buildup. It probably took like a month because I realized, you know, I think I'm kind of comfortable with this and natural. But at that point, you know, that was my biggest, like, are people actually believe that I know what I'm doing? Right. And I remember the first conversation with the first person I worked with. I was like, I am so snowing this guy, you know? But I told him after he landed, it was the first person to land a job, you know, when I was working with, and I told him that, and he goes, really? You know, you're the first person? I said, maybe I shouldn't have said that, but you know what, that felt really good. And I was like, that was like, you know, that was the first month. I was like, okay, we're cool.
Yeah, you can do this.
Exactly, you know, a little like, you know?
Yeah.
Actually, I also mentored for years. I mean, this is what I'm doing for fun. But also, and then I also have a company that I worked for that set me up with mentors, and I say how many I want a month, or and I limit it obviously because I've had actual jobs, so I can't. But I felt the same way as you. It was like, oh my gosh, you know, now I'm getting paid for this, you know, and you do. It takes a while to feel comfortable in your own skin, you know, that you feel like, you know, you're earning, you know, the respect, but also, you know, getting paid for this. Suddenly, it sort of changes your focus on it a bit, but. Alrighty, so we'll move on to our next area, which is, I think we've all sort of felt it in talking to you all. Like, there's fear, there's change, but what's exciting? Like, you obviously had to be excited about this change in order to do it. And I would have to say that the excitement had to outweigh the fear, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't have taken this giant step. So, like, looking forward from today, you know, what do you feel is the most exciting thing? So, Andrea, we'll start with you in the middle this time.
Yeah.
So change it around.
So for me, what's exciting is just thinking about people's lives that I can help to change and transform, and also to grow a business that I can use to give back. So, you know, I'm originally from Jamaica, and I want the business to grow so I can help some of the schools that have had damage for hurricanes and other things. So for me, it's the excitement is there's a purpose also beyond just me having a business. That's what I'm looking forward to.
I understand that. Giving back it helps drive us.
Yeah, I will definitely echo that. Building a purpose that is bigger than yourself and also manifesting what it is you came here for, your purpose in life, and really going for it, you know?
That's great. And what excites you, Matt?
I get a little bit, kind of ties back to a little bit of a backstory. First generation American, and you know, both my parents were blue collar, first person to go to 4-year college, get a degree, and I didn't have a clue what to do, you know, and that's why I think so I started coaching and mentoring, because I felt like this, you know, how can I help people? Because I didn't have that help, and I think how much easier it would have been. Right. You know, now I'm like, okay, I'm not necessarily helping people, you know, go from college to a professional life, but I still do that on a volunteer basis. But it's more a matter of the idea of just helping someone. I guess I think I've learned a lot about myself, that I like to be a helper or an enabler. You know, I didn't always think of that, you know, as part of what was me, and I realized how much I enjoy. You know, not that I say yes to everything, although I probably do too much, you know, but I think you have to a little bit to do what we do, right? Yeah. But I think that's the excitement, is, you know, that's to see, you know, how, you know, I can have an impact, and, you know, and the after effect is like, I'm talking to so many different people. Any given point in time, I'm working with 100 to 150 people a month. And I'm like, you know, it's like, I just love the idea of meeting all these different people in these different phases, and some of them are vulnerable, and I just want to be able to help them out. You know, it just feels really powerful in a good way, not like in a selfish way.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
I think it's like the biggest honor to sit with someone and to witness their life and to help them achieve what they're going for, whether it's personal healing, coaching, career changes, and just being that space holder for other people to transform, and also brings you your own transformation.
Right. That's beautiful, actually, being a space holder.
To
help them with their transformation. And I agree on that last point too. Their transformation helps you with your transformation. I don't think that can be said enough. Like, I think that when we're working with others and we're meeting other people, they really do have an impact on us as well. And it's so bi-directional, totally.
But I think just saying it makes you think about how real it is.
It is very real.
Yeah, I'm getting like...
And you know, it's funny, sometimes you don't even realize what it is that you said to somebody, and they'll tell you later on, I changed because of that conversation, and then you realize, wow, I really made a difference here.
It is, you often underestimate ourselves.
Exactly, we do.
Right, we totally do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys have kids. I have kids. It's kind of the same thing. You see your kids succeed in something, you're like, oh God, that's wow. That's part of me somewhere out there. You know?
All right, so now we're going to give advice, one piece of advice that you could think of. So if you want to have a moment, but what's one piece of advice you could think of for somebody who is thinking of making this life-altering change for themselves? You know, think when you were reflecting, if somebody had given you this advice, would you have made this decision sooner? So I'm not gonna pick a person. You guys decide who you know, if you have a thought, say it.
I would say first is you have to believe in yourself, because I think a lot of times we make fear stop us from taking that leap to try something new.
Yes.
So you have to believe in yourself, and then you have to make the decision to do it and not second guess yourself, because you have to put one foot in front of the other one. So you have to start somewhere. You decide and you put that foot in front of the other one. You'll be amazed sometimes where it all leads.
And I'll play right off of what you just said, Andrea, because as you're saying, it's like my thinking was, and if you're not able to put that one foot in front of the other, or you go sideways or backwards, you're going to be okay.
Right.
I think that's the other thing. Realize that, you know, you're going to be okay.
Yes.
You know, your family's still going to love you. You're still going to wake up in the morning. Okay, maybe you got to restart or do something different, but you're going to be okay.
Fine,
Big picture.
We grow from mistakes if we think
Exactly
it's a mistake.
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would add to that is to inspire yourself by either being in places that inspire you, whether it's nature, whether it's some fun activities, and surround yourself with people who are inspiring, who are courageous, who can hold space for you, and not in the way of like a measuring stick, like why can't I and they can, but in the way that community builds community, you know, and so when you're near someone who's vibrating higher and who is successful and kind and uplifting, your own vibration upgrades, and so to speak. So like, you're not alone. Don't do this alone. Surround yourself with people.
You're such a poet. I'm like,
She's deep.
I
can feel it.
I need to go to her and have a class. Like, whenever you're going to be teaching this
I'm a little
weekend,
intimidated, you know?
I'll be there. Like, I know you have you have some wonderful activities coming up for your business. So we will be letting everybody know how to find everybody here. So you'll see that on our posts. We are going to wrap it up. I would like also to mention that my cake today is a almond, blueberry, and lemon cake. So we'll be posting the recipe for that too, and we're looking forward to eating it. But now we're going to wrap, so everybody get your coffee, and do you remember? Catch you later on Cookies and Careers.